Hello, hello, hello. So, welcome to Reading for Change, a collective journey. As usual, I'm waiting to see if we're going to have company tonight. Um, in the meantime, I can tell you uh, you can learn more about Reading for Change, a collective journey on Facebook by that name, on YouTube by that name. And then we have a website called Reading Changes Lives. And that's where invitations are posted and videos, related materials, even though really haven't been doing much of that lately. But readingchangeslives.wordpress.com is the website. And there's a page there for Reading for Change, a collective journey. Um, there's also a page for the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle, where most of our book discussions are held under that banner. And there's a page for the Revolutionary Love Leadership Series. I think I've maybe only done one or two books under that title. Um, but anyway, uh, currently we are using the Reading for Change banner, um, which I try to use for things that are not, directly related to the Black or the female experience. And so that's the case with our current book, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. And we are currently on chapter 8. I guess I don't want to say too much more about that. Let's see if we uh, actually get a meeting going tonight. But we're on chapter 8, and which is called "There Is No Justice in History." Chapter 8 brings to conclusion the section we've been reading the last few weeks on the agricultural revolution. Let's see. I will say Harari, he describes um, four what he calls revolutions um, in the history of Homo sapiens. Um, Cognitive revolution, where we really um, took a leap uh, away above other animals, leaping to the top of the food chain, as it were. Um, and then currently we're on the agricultural revolution, um, which just really looks at how that changed human history from um, our long period as hunter gatherers into farmers and peasants. And then the next section, which we'll get to when we come back after the holiday break, is called the unification. of Humankind. And then the final section is called the Scientific Revolution. And so we started discussions on this book on October 24th of this year. And if all goes according to plan, we should be here on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Um, until April 2nd. Here comes Geo. So now I can tell you we are going to have a discussion, it looks like, on chapter 8. There is no justice in history. Hey there.
Hi. Oh boy. Zoom installing updates. I'm like, no, not now.
It did the same thing to me.
Yeah, how many updates do they need? I mean, it's every week, isn't it?
I know. And why can't they do it as you're leaving the meeting?
Right?
Or just give you the option. They could just
Mhm.
uh uh send a pop-up message, go here to update if you want to update.
Yes, they
Like the
don't care.
rest of the world.
Right, right. They don't care. You doing this now.
Yes, yes.
Oh
Authoritarian.
my gosh. Mm,
So how you
man.
doing?
I'm doing okay. We got a cold snap down here, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess it's Christmas. They're trying to give us some snow, I guess. We'll see. How's it
I-
been going up there?
it's cold. It's cold. Well, actually, I think the last couple of days were not so bad, maybe like close to 60.
Oh, yeah, that's
Uh,
nice.
but it was raining.
Oh, that's not so great.
Yeah, and so I didn't go out because I haven't really been feeling that great. Um,
Oh,
so I was in, but I went out today and it was it was cold. It was cold.
okay. Well, stay well. Don't go out unless you have to.
Yeah, it was around maybe 40, close to about 40 degrees. So, I guess for some people that's not so bad, but I can't take the cold.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't like cold, any cold is too cold for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I guess it's just us again, Gio. Um, I talked to Venita yesterday, but we didn't talk about book group. I know she's on vacation from work this week. Um,
Mhm.
so I thought she might have decided to try to pop in. But anyway,
Okay.
maybe she will rejoin us after the holidays.
Yeah.
So, and once again, I did not do a deep dive in this chapter. Um, but I thought we did pretty well last week,
Me
despite
too. Yeah.
despite that. So maybe there's something to that. Um, but I was just kind of doing the introduction, and I think I just needed to say my name is Michelle Odom, and I'm joining you from Brooklyn, New York. Happy to be here. Welcome, welcome. And I am joined by
Georgette Moses from Columbia, South Carolina. Yay!
Yay! Where it is cold.
Yes, it's trying to feel like Christmas.
What temperature are you calling cold?
We are at, I think, 42 now, but we're going down to 27.
Oh,
So I brought the plants I cared about in last week. And the rest out there fending for themselves. No,
I didn't know it got that cold down there.
not usually. We've had a very interesting couple of years where the weather just isn't predictable anymore. Not that it was really predictable before, but we had some kind of regularity.
Yeah,
Now you just don't even know.
right, right. Well, I think that's going on everywhere.
Yeah, well, at least we don't have an ice volcano explode erupting right now. So hey, we're doing okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, you ready to talk about chapter 8?
Yeah, let's talk about no justice, no peace. No.
No justice in history.
Oh
Let
my God.
uh, let me share my screen. And this is the little bit of I seem to be adjusting well to this not writing agendas and questions.
Okay, that's good. No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, but you know, you are such a good conversationalist, and
Oh,
you know,
oh,
and when Venita is here, she is too.
yes, she is.
Yeah, and that's really what. Oh, here she's saying something.
Is she gonna come?
Uh,
Oh,
asking if we're meeting, and I'm saying yes. Um,
oh,
she is too, and I think when I started the practice of writing questions, it's because I didn't know who was going to be in the group and what their personalities and whatnot might be. Um, but I know I've spoken with many people. Oh, now she's saying send me the link. Oh my God.
okay, that's good. Yay, come on. You know what to do. You come on, Michelle. You know what. You know how this go.
I don't know where's the link. I don't have it on my phone. Let me see.
Oh.
Can you go to cluster 4, please? Oh, don't have link on phone. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Um, so yeah, I didn't know who was going to be participating in the group, and I've had a lot of conversations with people over the years where especially group processes that can get really really quiet, because nobody really knows what to say and or whatever. I'm not the quiet one, so I don't really know.
No, really?
I don't really know what the problem is.
Oh,
But I know that questions turn our brains on and give us something to focus on. So
oh yeah, it worked very well. It guided us through, especially those long and complicated chapters, and kept some of us out of trouble and put some of us in deep trouble. But that's okay. No.
yes. Well, Gia, why don't you go ahead and read this little bitty summary for us, please?
Okay. The agricultural revolution required a high degree of cooperation among Homo sapiens and paved the way for inequality in social systems across the world. In Chapter 8, There is No Justice in History, the author explores how imagined orders, scripts, and discrimination keep humans divided in hierarchies, such as superiors, commoners, and slaves, whites and blacks, patricians and plebeians, Brahmins and Shudras, rich and poor, etc. Thus, without needing to personally know each other, we learn how to treat each other. Vicious cycles keep us trapped in these patterns of relating, especially the hierarchy of gender, where patriarchy reigns. The chapter focuses in on the illogical nature of arguments against the equality of women.
Thank you. So, yeah, stop the share. Okay. Um, so where do we begin?
Ah, we can start at the top. Oh my goodness.
Well, he starts out asking, how did humans organize themselves in mass cooperation networks when they lacked the biological instincts necessary to sustain such networks? The short answer is that humans created imagined orders and devised scripts. These two inventions filled the gaps left by our biological inheritance. That is near the top of page 133. Um, so yeah, it is stunning to me, of course, that these imagined hierarchies are so effective. Um, I'm laughing because I'm remembering a comment a man made to me one time where he said, um, he was one that didn't like to talk much. And he, you know, people are just supposed to um, fall into their roles and you know, imagine whatever imagine whatever you want. I'm like,
Okay, interesting.
I guess I'm not the girl you're looking for.
There she is.
um, Venita Goines, is that the Venita Goines Walker? Is that you?
Yay!
You guys thought I was what? Be out a couple of weeks. Everybody forget you exist. I'm looking at conversational 8 instead of cluster 4. Been here for 15 minutes. I said, they think they got rid of me that easy. They got another thought coming.
All right.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? I miss my people.
Yeah, we missed you
Welcome back. How
too.
you feeling?
Like crap. That's why I'm here.
Oh,
So I can
all
feel
right.
better.
Okay, good. We gonna work on that then.
I'm not worried about it. I know you got me. Let's do this.
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like crap too, so you're in the right place.
Oh, thank you. I knew I could depend on you all.
Give us your
Oh,
name.
My name is Venita Goins Walker, and I'm joining you from Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome.
all
All right,
right.
welcome. I like that color on you of the hoodie.
It is nice.
Cold. You know what? It's nice. It's warm here today, and that's why I'm sick. This temperatures are crazy. But inside your home, for whatever reason it is, it feels like it's cold, but it's not actually cold outside. It's
Ah,
dampness, I think, from all the
interesting.
storms. It's kind of
Yeah.
Well, it's cold here and it's cold where Geo is.
really.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going
Oh my.
down to 27. I'm not ready. I'm so not ready.
Oh, I know they can't take it to South Carolina, but I guess,
No.
but I guess all the rain we had coming up up the East Coast and Northeast, the humidity got really high and the temperatures went way up, and it's really pretty not good here because we're supposed to be really cold right now, like really cold,
Yeah.
So I thought I was just being an OG. I was like, oh, am I turning to my grandmother?
No,
Yeah.
it's the weather. It's
Okay, thank you,
the
because I was
weather.
getting scared. I was getting afraid.
Yeah.
We have to add
So
some of that liquid antifreeze in the bottle.
I didn't want to say anything. So, chapter 8, was that fun?
yeah, you know our boy. You know our boy Yuval Noah Harari. He cracks me up.
All day.
So I don't have any questions or an agenda or anything. So, just having a free for all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just talking about how he starts the chapter questioning how humans were able to set up these mass cooperation networks and concluding that the short answer is that we've created these imagined orders and devised scripts. And so I was talking about a, a man who once said to me that um, you just suppose people are just supposed to fall into their roles, and you can imagine what you want to imagine. You don't have to talk about it. Talking about it messes things up from his perspective. And of course, that thought outraged me, um, because I believe I have always been on a search for authenticity. But that search does seem to run counter to the dominant ways of being in our society. And as outraged as I was by what he said, I think he's in the majority of how people move through this world. Of they just accept or adopt whatever role it is that they want to play, and they run the script. You know? So, but I have never been able to fit into that model, and thus, what's that song? I'm coming up the rough side of the mountain.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough side. It is. Ah, this chapter, he just made me really look at how ubiquitous and seem inescapable all this imagined hierarchies and orders are. Because if you try to be an individualist, right, you are an outcast. Because everything is linked together with the role you're supposed to play in whichever society you've unfortunately been born into. Uh, ah,
Mm-hmm.
and then how we create the um rules for these positions. Oh, you know, and they have nothing to do with biology, but simply to keep the order going, to keep the people who are in the places in which they are there, the rich in, you know, we support, you know, why people are rich, why are they mega rich? Oh, they must be smart or fortunate, or God has blessed them.
Mm-hmm.
And why are the people poor? Because they're dumb, they're dirty, they're or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it's simply because everything is put in place in these societies to keep people in these stations. And if
Mm-hmm.
you try to break free, it's an anomaly. So you'll either be embraced or crushed as something that's going to destroy the whole order.
Right.
Right. You know, just
Right.
uh,
And, you know, it potentially can. I mean, you know, between the way I was raised, I guess, and just my innate personality, and as you all know from hanging out in book group with me, I ain't got no shortage of questions. You know, I've been asking questions since I was a little girl. And, you know, chief among them, I think, is why? You know, why? Why I gotta do that? You know, why are things the way they are? Um, you know, and of course there are no good answers. And so asking the questions does potentially upset the order, because when you discover that there are no good answers, you might decide you don't want to go along with a program that has no reasonable basis. And that's what Harari is unpacking in this chapter. Oh, Venita, Geo has become another Harari lover.
Of course. You can't escape them. Can't escape. Once you get a taste, that's it, Gio. You never go back again, girl. Once you go.
Yes, because this is a man that has asked himself, why?
Um, every question that he has posed in these chapters, and every time he makes a statement, then he poses a question, or sometimes he poses a question first and then makes a statement. I've always asked myself those questions, and I never bothered to ask to challenge the patriarchy. I just moved away from it. I had enough time in my life to observe it. I figured there was an answer, they would be doing what I saw with my eyes and heard my ears to do, be doing what they're doing. So apparently there were no answers for them. So I just never asked the questions. I just observed, waited, see ya. I just looked for, but when I got in the real world, I also saw it. Once I became an adult, I also saw that it was everywhere. This is where you're going to be placed, and even within the families, your position in families are already predetermined for most people, not for Venita, which is why I'm alone. And they do cast you out. But that's something you already know when you go up against the patriarchal and matriarchal um, little box in your family. You know that. But somebody has to do it. And the only thing that I found that it actually does, it holds generation of people back. And you'd be surprised, and I'm not even shocked. But still, in 2023, not only just on the outside that I can expect, but even within your own families, they still have the same train of thought. Yeah. Now, the human body is designed, the mind and the body, the brain, the body, to expand. Mm-hmm. So you have to willfully force yourself to stay and retard your own brain and your own body, because we're designed to expand. So if I'm watching that decade after decade after decade, that tells me that they're forcibly making themselves stay in that imaginary state which they're trying to put off on the others that come after them. What should I be doing? I mean,
I
so
remember.
what should you be doing? You should be asking the question. The answer's in front of you because you have to force yourself. Naturally, the body wants to expand and grow. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you're still thinking and moving the same way, that's willful. There's no question to ask. This is none. That means that, and I do ask the question, you certainly can't answer it because you are willfully doing the same thing, moving the same way. It's so crazy when you think about it. It's like your whole life is determined by who you're born to. And then you have to step out there and it's determined by religion, sex, race. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You can't win for
Yeah,
losing.
but I don't think we're all built quite the same way. Like I don't think we all have the same level of natural inquisitiveness. Um, I remember a long time ago when I was starting a job and I was the director of this program, and I was complaining to my boss that the staff just they didn't seem to have any questions. They didn't have any seem to have any enthusiasm, and and I couldn't get them talking in meetings.
They were just there for that paycheck.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And she's like, Michelle,
Oh,
some people are born to be worker bees.
no.
And I said, oh.
That is a shock. Telling me something new.
I mean, but like if you think about the what is it, the ant kingdom and how they move, and or just other animals in nature, and how they move, and there are these sort of natural hierarchies that can be seen in different species. So so that made me a little bit more comfortable, and they just wanted somebody to tell them what to do. I was like, all right.
Hmm. Now, see, you brought up two things there. One was the pecking order and a reasonably acceptable excuse to why things should not change, right? Why you should just be comfortable doing what you're doing. And they should be comfortable doing what they're doing because they were born that way. They were just worker bees. Okay. And then the second thing I'm thinking of is what Harari said somewhere in this chapter about what we call natural and unnatural are the definitions are not what we think they are. Right. Nature is because God ordained this to operate this way.
Right.
But
Nature allows, as Venita was saying, it expands. You can
yeah.
use your mouth for many things.
Right. And then I think he had an example in there about how organs, they evolve, right? Their function evolves over time depending on what they need to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then relating that to being born a worker bee, but children come here more inquisitive and more able to adapt than any human children, than any other living being, because they have so much information they need to immediately, put to use, gather and put to use for survival, because they're like what, the weakest,
Yes.
youngling.
And elderly.
Right, right, right. So I think what happens is that You're not born a worker bee. The
No, you're
child
not.
comes here asking why? Why is the sky blue? Why is that? Why? And we tell them because I said so, or because it is. And after a while, they stop asking questions because it's easier, right, to get along, to just move through life not asking questions, just doing what you're told, checking the boxes. So we're
Mm-hmm.
not born worker bees. We become the worker bee because if you step outside that hive, the wasp might come and get you, or they might kick you out, right?
Right,
Because
right.
you're not gathering enough honey. You put the honey in left to right instead of right to left. We can't head up in here,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
It's
know.
conditioning. It's all conditioning.
Yes,
It's all
yes.
conditioning, and I fight that force. I've been fighting it all my life. I will not be conditioned by any human on this earth, and it's for God thing, please. Again, everybody doesn't feel the way you feel about those things, and I've seen it so many times within my family, outside my family. It's brought into the workplace. All to condition you to do as you're told.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ask why. I just simply don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my answer. You see, it's horrible. I just don't understand how. And I don't even try to understand. I used to try to understand because I had no choice in order to survive to try to understand why things are happening. Why are these people sitting here like little robots long before technology took hold, and everybody just doing like this?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is scary. For me, it always like a horror story to me. I was going to ask any question. I was too busy plotting how I was going to escape. That's the truth. How I'm going to escape this nightmare.
And as Harari said in the last chapter, you escape one prison into a larger prison.
That's what I just told you. You escape the conditioning of the patriarchal so-called, and that's a joke. Even being a young child, you can see that was just a force. Because I'm looking at what you're saying and how you're behaving, and they don't coincide. So I learned early on that really. So then become an adult because you're plotting all the time. How am I going to escape this madness? Because it looked mad. No one was physically or verbally abusing me. It's just the madness and the movement around you. It's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Once you escape it, then you go out into the world. And then here you go again.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be going to the workplace, whether you're going to college, whether whatever you may be doing.
Mm-hmm.
First you're black, 1 strike.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're a woman, 2 strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're just dirty. That's the 3rd strike. When I was reading that in the Hindu religion, and I do have a Hindu in my family, I had to laugh because that's exactly the way it is. I mean, he hit it on the nail. He is nothing but he's doing nothing but spitting facts. That's all he's doing is spitting facts. It's already there because that's exactly the way that family operates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And they don't play. They don't sway ever from that caste systems. Black folks sometimes will go, well, all right, maybe this time. Not them. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. You fall over here. You don't talk to that person, that system, the North. Yeah. And I was always amazed by that. And how people, and I guess there's so many people too. You can't even fight those powers because there's so many people. I don't know, and it's all imaginary.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
That's the kicker.
Yeah,
It's
it
all
sounds
imaginary.
really crazy. I don't have a better word for this. It's a mass hysteria.
Doesn't it feel? It feels that way. It always has felt that way to me. Like it's a whole. That's how I looked at it growing up. It's like, oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
and again, I didn't ask questions. I learned, I watched, I observed, and I was plotting my way how I was going to move away from all this mass hysteria. That was my goal. My only goal, really, was my goal. Because at some point, without asking questions, there's nothing you can do about that. You're not going to change that. Because everybody around you is doing the same thing. So you know, so automatically, what should your next move be? How am I going to escape this madness? That's my goal. And then you get out there and go to the workplace, more madness. It just never stops.
Yeah.
It just never, and it takes your ambition away. It can really take your ambition away when you think about it. You're born into that cast. So why am I doing anything? Even if I wanted to, what difference is it actually going to make? Self-satisfaction.
Well,
Only to
yeah, I mean, I'm glad Harriet Tubman did her thing. And all the other abolitionists.
that was a matter of survival. That was a matter of survival. You had no choice. You're going to stay there and take the risk and know the risk that you were taking. It could happen very easily any day, any time of the moment. So that was a matter of survival. I've seen people in a non-survival mode. I don't compare them with Harriet Tubman. In the non-survival mode in the past 4 decades, sitting there and you're not in survival mode. You're just passing down this craziness.
Yeah.
Free will.
Yeah.
So that you can't compare that. That's a different. That has nothing to do with what we're looking at and what I've been seeing all my life. Has nothing to do with, you weren't escaping death every day. You decided for whatever reason you wanted that you were going to keep that patriarchal, matriarchal, make-believe, crazy maze of crazy going. That's what I want to know. How does it happen? Why does it continue to happen?
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, but we really only know what we know. And what's the expression? You don't know what you don't know, and all of that. So here we are. Let's see what else is striking. I know one thing I wanted to talk about, where he's talking about gay, attitudes toward homosexuality. And there's currently a big brouhaha going on in the United Methodist Church, which I'm only aware of because my brother was talking to me about it. But the New York Times did a did a story on it yesterday, where something like 25 to 30% of their population of churches have left the main the mainline United Methodist, and the ones that have left are the MAGA types, and my brother said, and a lot of the African churches, over the issue of ordaining and I think marrying LGBTQ people. And I just thought it was interesting in the context of what Harari was saying here about about the imaginary roles around sexuality. And yet here we are at this late date in history, still having that kind of division. So change, there's been a whole big effort, like on a similar vein, he has a chart in here that looks at a female equals a biological category on page 149. And and so in ancient Athens and modern Athens, a female has two X chromosomes, she has a womb, she has ovaries, little testosterone, much estrogen, and she can produce milk. And so as a biological category, these things are exactly the same from ancient times to today. But as a cultural category, a woman, there's been a lot of change from not being able to vote to voting, to not being able to be a judge, to can be a judge, etc. From legally owned by a father or a husband to being legally independent. So culturally, our definition of woman has changed a lot. At least it has looked that way for a period of time. But now here we are in the grips of anti-abortion going on in this country. And I'm only laughing because thank God I'm not reproductive age. Because I would be losing my damn mind. It is just unthinkable what is happening to the status of women in this country today.
It's not unthinkable. History repeats itself. It'll keep going around and around and around, and it will actually it will fit the needs of that population of people at that time. And right now, this is going to fit the needs of the Bible throwers.
But the Bible
which are
not the only people that have needs.
Well, they seem to think so. Oh, this was a couple of days ago. The Pope decided now they're going to start to bless gay relationships, aka marriages, because that change in their pocket was starting to get kind of light. And that's all it's about. I'm going to be honest with you. Everything is about capitalism. Has nothing to do with nothing.
Is that what the Pope said?
No, that's not what the Pope said. But the Catholic business is the biggest business, from last I checked, in the world. Don't worry about the scammers on your phone. Now, if you're going by the Bible is supposed to be consistent. And the Bible throwers will throw that so-called consistency in your face when it accommodates their needs. Okay, what it says in the Bible has not changed. And that's the way, stand up for what you believe. So you say you believe. Now, because that purse is getting kind of light, and now because you're bringing cardinals to trial and prosecuting them, I should say, for embezzlement, which was also in the paper a few days before, along with quite a few other cardinals, suddenly the gays are okay. Now I've decided, you all, that we can bless their relationships, aka marriages. Because that kitty is a little empty. And those gay folks have some economic power. No, people need to call it like they see it. It's in the Baptist church, it's in the Methodist church, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. And that's why I told you some things I never questioned. If you look at the insaneness in front of you, at least stick, you have to stick to what you, if you say what you mean to me, but you say, you cannot change it at your convenience, because that Bible that everybody wants to shove up my behind everybody else's butt has not changed. But suddenly, nah. Well, no, the church is getting more liberated. No, the church is supposed to go on by the Holy Scriptures, and the Holy Scriptures have not changed. So you need to rewrite that Bible, okay, minus having the wine before you do it. Or you need it, but don't come here.
Which they have done on occasion.
That's what I'm saying. But you see what I'm saying? How awful it actually is. It's just, and I'm looking at this crazy. Same with this country. We'll beat down the gays responsible for this, the gays responsible for that. Oops, our pockets getting a little light now. The gays have economic power. So now we'll let them in this place. Same with blacks. Same with anybody. It's all about what economic power you have and what they need at that moment. Again, that's that imaginary thing. And they play it on people and everybody sitting around and clapping like they're crazy. I mean, I'm watching them clapping. Oh, look what's going on now. I'm like, really? Now bring your purse with you. That's who's going to see the news tomorrow. Okay, we did this for you. I'm not seeing anything that reasonably intelligent people, and you may question my intelligence, but reasonably intelligent people would not see. Going back to what Harari says, this imaginary thing that it's all imaginary and it's so deep, and then they use it and manipulate it to fit their needs.
Except, are there many reasonably intelligent people?
Because I do use those words lightly. I use those words lightly because I used to assume that there were.
Because I mean, it seems to me that if reasonably intelligent people were the majority of us, that we would be looking at these imaginary orders and breaking them down, grinding them to dust.
Yeah.
And the MAGA types and the orthodox Bible throwers and all of that, they wouldn't have a chance. They would just be a few little crazy people over in a corner, playing with their lips.
You would think.
They would. No, they wouldn't be changing society.
That's right.
To meet their needs at the expense of everybody else.
Yes.
And then they put the boot on your neck. What happens is there are a lot of folks that say, I'm going to go against that so-called make-believe norm that some crackhead has created to maintain their wealth and status in society. But they put the laws in place. They got every mechanism in place. So if you do want to go against us, we're ready. So at that point, they're holding you at gunpoint. I mean, it's almost like they're holding you at gunpoint. You try it if you want to, but we got all this in order right here, and we're going to protect our wealth and our caste systems and all this stuff, and you dare not try that. And the other people kind of fall back.
Right.
So you start out with 100. When they said that, now you got 30.
Right.
10 more drop off for good measure.
Right.
Just because they don't know what to do.
Right.
10 more drop off as they sit in debate. Well, let me weigh this. Will they take away that little piece of bread that I have to give my family? Not knowing that if they take that away, they're going to take away this week or next week. It won't make a difference. So which one stand for? What? Yeah. You going to stand for taking away that bread right now or taking away next week? 10 more people say, well, I'll stand for taking away for next week. I'll just back one up over here. And then you got the cowgirls out here, the rebels with a cause, that's going to fight to the end. 5 of them get dusted off, and there's 5 standing.
So of those,
what
did you start out with? 100 people?
Yeah, this hypothetically, it could be 100,000, it could be 20,000.
Of those 100 people, which ones are reasonably intelligent and which ones are insane?
The five that are still standing, even that one with the book in their hand called Michelle Odom.
No.
Because they're going to get beat with that book.
Yes, they are.
And we know it. That's why we still got you up here. Come on. The five is still standing as reasonably intelligent. They would say to themselves, okay, am I going to think long term or am I going to be short sighted? Am I going to think about having a little piece of bread today or am I going to think about having my kids in that bread next week? And it won't make a difference me having today if I don't have it tomorrow. And they will stand up. But five is not enough to go against that strong math. So they just keep us going around in circles, as Harari would say. And you feel so beat down. You just feel, I know I do. You just get tired of us going around that circle, fighting every day to stay alive, waiting for the leaders to drop a piece of bread down to you when they see fit, or take it away from when they see fit. And I just don't know. But it's been going on forever. So I don't know what to say.
Yeah. It feels like forever.
It does feel like forever, you know? It feels like forever. But once again, the reason I bought the Pope, nothing against the Catholics, you know, I'm okay, you okay, y'all do y'all, I do me. I just am amazed at how the church, that church in particular, the biggest business, have committed so many atrocities against mankind, period. And folks go there every day, 2 or 3 times a week, 5 days a week, and it's all okay, can turn around today where you were condemning them and sending them to hell because the Bible said so. They haven't rewritten that Bible in a while, unless I checked. But suddenly today it's okay. I just equated that to the kitty is getting a little bit.
Well, he's changing the script. He's changing the story. And, you know, and for those who go along with the new story, there will be cooperation in the mass network of the Catholic Church. You know, I mean, I think Venita is absolutely right that the Pope's motives, you know, have to do with finance. But I think for the majority of you know, believers, as Harari talks about in other chapters, you know, some people are true believers.
No.
And so, but what he's doing is changing the story. And that's why, you know, that's why the media is so powerful and important. And, you know, and it used to be when the media had more freedom, more honor and integrity, and, you know, really tried to play that role of the fourth estate, um it was a powerful force in society, because what it was doing was helping to shape the narrative, you know, what people believed and how they were going to adjust their behavior to whatever the new reality is. And that's why, you know, the wealthiest among us, um you know, went on a concerted campaign to destroy the media because they were a thorn in their side.
Of course.
You know, and so now really the only one with much capacity to shape the narrative and set the agenda, um, you know, is the rich and powerful.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, you're right. You know, people are going to just start going along with the new, um, whatever the Pope says. You know, I mean, he could come out and say, you know, it's okay to fuck your doggy, And I guess they'd be like, yeah, you know, the Pope said, let's get it on, because there doesn't seem to be any pushback to any of this, and I know people are pushing back. And I know we don't have the voice of mass media. And so you don't see the pushback and feel the pushback and hear the pushback. But it's there. But without that access to media, I mean, look at this, what has happened on social media. You used to be able to get on social media and say pretty much whatever you wanted to say. And people that agreed with you could find you, and you could find voices that, resonated with you. And but now they've gotten so they filter so much of what we can see and say and do. That from my perspective is just another environment of social control.
That's what it is. But people are doing something about it. Actually, what they're doing is everyone's not trying to fight the powers, because the Pope is very powerful. He looks at him, even I wonder who they pray to, him or God. Many times it's to him, I feel. However, there are people that are doing different things. They're organizing, because I have gay friends who are fabulous. They're not going to sit back and just accept anything and not looking at all this crazy. That are wonderful. And they're opening up their own churches themselves, where everyone is welcome. They're doing their own organizing. There are a lot of folks that are stepping away from it, period, regardless of what the Pope says. You're late. You're late. You're not fooling anyone. Everyone sees through your crap. That kitty is getting a little light. You have all these lawsuits. No, we have all these lawsuits. Let's be realistic about it. It's not like they're running out of money, but as we know, the wealthy can have $20 billion. They be down $5. They feel like they don't have the money. Okay, everyone knows. Well, everybody doesn't know that. I keep saying that, but that's not true. Many people know that. They have all these lawsuits coming again. 3 days ago, was a week ago, maybe 5 days ago. One of their main cardinals prosecuted for embezzlement. And they got all these other people that were going along with the whole thing. They bought this huge property over here in another country. The Catholic Church is doing some bullshit. They always been on bullshit. That's why you have all these slaves on islands that are Catholics. That's why you have all these parishes down south, this parish, that parish in Louisiana, all these going to islands of Jamaica. I can talk for ones that I know of, and all the parishes. Because those Catholics have come there and they have put a whipping on their ass with the Bible. And to the day, it's the truth. So I say it may sound funny, but I'm actually dead serious. People just are over it. People are just over it. They just, and they really believe in God, and they do believe in God.
Yeah.
And so they've moved on, and they've opened their own churches and formed their own communities.
Mm-hmm.
Just over it, and they're doing wonderful. They're doing wonderful work, and they feel good, and I feel good for them. So they got to feel that kitty still. Yep, taking donations.
Gio,
Yes.
What was striking to you about this chapter? Anything?
Oh, I had a few things in here. When you brought up the part about the homosexuals,
Mm-hmm.
um, there was and I was watching this, I think it was on Netflix, a series about Troy, and and they had Achilles and his brother in arms, and they had a gay relationship, and then I didn't think about Alexander the Great and him having a gay relationship. And I'm like, well, okay then. So
Mhm.
here it is written into the imagination of either are they fictional documents? That remains to be seen.
Mhm.
Um, and yet we're still fighting against the ideas of who these icons, as they're presented to us, are supposed to be, right? You have Achilles, he's a man's man, he's the leader of the Myrmidons, Myrmid,
Mhm.
right? And he's a fierce fighter, and the Greeks, they're not going to win unless him and his men are there with him. And this is the image of manliness, of manhood, and yet uh, we're introduced to, you have to, what is this idea of manhood and womanhood, right? They're
Mhm.
imagined. They're imagined. Because just if you say, oh, man, being a man is being fierce, right? Good in battle. Well, what about the Amazonians? They're women and they're fierce in battle, right? And for some of the information I've come across, those they were real,
Mhm.
real group of women doing that kind of thing. And then you have women, well, at least one woman pharaoh in Egypt, but she had to wear a beard, right? And she had to pretend that she was her father was a god for them to accept her. So
Mhm.
it's just quite a mishmash of the things we are allowed to accept and the things, as Venita was saying, as plain as the nose on your face, that what makes sense, what makes real sense when you start to analyze the different parts of it
Mhm.
and find, as Harari, he says, you have to look at history, and when you start asking these questions, you look at history to find the answers. But doggone it, if the more you look at history, you become more confused, or you become more convinced that humanity is insane and controlled by, I don't know. Here we are. We think here, it's 2023. We think we're at the precipice of uh, things that were only imagined in our foreparents, minds,
Right.
dreams. And yet we're still struggling with what is a man? What is a woman? What's your role? How dark you are. Okay, what is money? These different
Right.
things, right? What is your free? Do you own your body or do you not? Okay, can I get medical services and have it paid for by the state, or can I not? Because
Mhm.
of what you believe.
Mhm.
We are retarding ourselves.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, these stories are very powerful, and once they get into our consciousness, they're hard to shape. Like you were talking about the image of manliness, and so I just wanted to share this. On one side is the French King Louis XIV, who was the picture of manliness in his day, with high heels and tights and long hair. And then there's Barack, a man's man by today's standards.
He was in the closet. That's what was going on with him.
And, and you know
Okay.
what? When I look at those artistic renditions of past rulers in different countries, because even you look at Asian cultures, they're dressed in finery, but it's about the culture, what
Yes.
represents opulence and
Yes.
this person being closer to whatever God they worship, right? And so I looked at some of those pictures and I said, oh, he's probably fruity. And maybe he was, but that was just the
No.
culture of the some of them were. And
Oh
they
no, no.
killed their what, right, right, right. But
Yes,
it
ma'am.
didn't it but the way we look at stuff in the Western society, because I can only speak for how where I'm born, right? Is that what your how you dress, what's around you presents what you are, what you're about. And so for me, from 2023 or whenever I first looked at these paintings of these rulers,
Mhm.
European rulers, and I'm like, oh, they're dressed up better than their wives in the next picture over.
Yeah.
She looked like a horse and he
Yeah.
got rouge on. So what's going on in the society? And
You're
that
like,
and so that just
always gotta
speaks
go
of
way to the left.
right. But it just speaks to me, of my ignorance and things I need to, explore history about. Well, what was going on? What were these people thinking, about in their daily lives, and what dictated, how they would dress and the things that they believed. I need to become a better student of different cultures.
Yes.
I'm not going to just say, oh, he had on hose and high heels, girl. That boy, we know he was pretty. I can't say, but a lot of people would, because they're not intellectually, they're not curious about, well, why do they look dressed that way? Or some people say, oh, well, that's just what they did. And just not ask the questions, like you said before, why?
Well, sexuality, you have to realize too that there was a lot of bisexuality as well as homosexuality
Mm,
during that period. And men spent an awful lot of time together because women were not even a part of the class. They were just over here.
yeah.
So it's not for me, without even knowing the history, and I'm just using my vast imagination. It runs away with me sometimes. But some of the facts are there that, there was a lot of bisexuality going on. You had to also adhere to the societal norms. They expected you to have that wife over there that was just there to reproduce, procreate. That was it.
Right. You need the
Okay.
air.
But
Gotta have
yes,
that air.
that's it. But all those men spent a lot of time together. And a lot of stuff was going on during that time. People, I'm not saying but I'm just saying that there was a lot of bisexuality as well as homosexuality, but there was a lot of bisexuality going on.
Yes, yes. And doesn't
You know
that
what I'm
speak to
saying?
the hypocrisy of, well, okay, I'm not a history buff, but when the adoption of Judeo-Christianity over these pagan religions that probably, hey, everything might go, right? And but still the people needed to keep, they ingrained, it was still ingrained in them,
Yes.
the habits, right? Then that
Yes.
was norm for them. But on the surface, you have this thou shall nots, a bunch of thou shall nots.
Yes.
Right. So in public, everything was one way, but in private, in the halls of the castle and wherever, it was on. It was on and popping.
It's just like it is today. It's just
Mhm.
like it is today. It has not changed. And a lot of people today, whether it's family or politics, it's the same way.
Mhm.
When they go out in public, they have all this stuff going on, but in private, it's a whole different ball game. So that
Yeah.
again, it just history keeps repeating itself, and in that culture and that everything is so deeply ingrained in people's DNA, I guess, so they just can't shake it.
Okay.
I
They're
just
not.
want to read this little bit on the under the picture of Barack on page 151. Harari says, during most of history, dominant men have been colorful and flamboyant, such as American Indian chiefs with their feathered headdresses and Hindu Maharajas decked out in silks and diamonds. Throughout the animal kingdom, males tend to be more colorful and accessorized than females. Think of peacock's tails and lion's manes. And I'm just wondering, how is it that in American, it's probably got something to do with puritanical thinking, but how is it that in American society men have become so reserved. So I mean, I like it, but I've never been a part of a culture where men had, this kind of flamboyance.
Well, even American Indian chiefs, they might have had fancy hairdressing and fancy wares,
Yeah.
but visually they were very masculine.
Yeah.
I've been to Schmitzens. I've taken my children to Schmitzens. We've been there probably about 3 or 4 times. They're colorful extravaganzas where all these tribes come from all over the country. And you see all the beautiful wares, all the chiefs. And they had beautiful wares on, but the chiefs were masculine.
Yeah.
Physically, visibly, they were masculine. They were colorful, but I saw all that man under all that.
and maybe that's the point of men being colorful, in other animals and
yes,
species and cultures, so that the women will stand up and notice. That's what I'm saying. How is it that we get these? I mean, Barack looks good, but how is it that we get this?
Hey, look,
black suit.
We just lucky. We just lucky we getting that instead of that other. Okay, so I'm gonna count my blessings. I'm gonna go with this time. I'm gonna go with our norm. I'm going with our norm. I'm not gonna fight powers. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes you go with the norm, Gio. Sometimes you go with
it. Yeah, you do.
You do.
Yeah.
So, all right. So finally, before we get out of here, I wanted to just point out this float a theory. The top of page 159, it says, how did it happen that in one species whose success depends above all on cooperation, individuals who are supposedly less cooperative, men, control individuals who are supposedly more cooperative, women? At present, we have no good answer. So I wanted to throw out my answer, which is that I think that men have much more of a follow the alpha male culture than women do. I think women are much more inclined toward independence. So even though we know how to cooperate, we like to do our own things. Who was it? You, Venita, the other day that was talking about girls growing up to move out of the home.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember?
That's our goal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, that's our goal. One of our goals in life is to grow up and move out of your mother's home into your own home.
Yeah. So you can
do I don't know if that's a goal of most males.
Right. No, they'd stay with mama forever if you let them.
That's what I'm saying. The ones that I know, I mean, and that doesn't do education, social status, none of that stuff. That is a male thing. They don't have, they don't even think that. I didn't hear him talk about that. You're the one that have to talk about that. I felt, my son, I'm the one, okay, this is how this is going to play out. We're going to educate you. And after we do that, I'm going to get you a chicken and a mattress.
Right. And you're going to fly, little birdie. You're going to fly.
Fly. And whereas females, we're already, after we go to school, we get our skills, what we're going to do. We're going to get our place. Bye-bye, lady. I'll stop by and see you, call you on the phone. We can do lunch sometimes, but I'm out. Because we need our own space so we can think and do the things we need to do.
And my experience having three brothers is that men have a much greater tendency to be looking to the alpha male in the group to figure out what their role should be, to figure out what script they need to follow.
They certainly do.
Instead of trying to figure it out for themselves.
And that can be problematic. It's very problematic many times.
Well, but I think this is how because of that kind of
Yes.
leader followship that
Yeah.
they have going on. That's how they have gained control.
That's how they gain control.
Society,
Exactly.
you know, and are running us ragged.
Yeah, but those tides about ready to change. It's been a while. It's been a while. And I do think those tides are about ready to change. We probably won't be here to see it, but it's not going to take that long because it's a whole new world now. And I think that as we've been beat down, so has males a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, their leadership, is
Right. That's what I'm
is
saying.
leading to the destruction of the very planet we depend
But
on.
before the planet goes, and remember, the planet's pretty resilient. We'll be going long before this planet. The planet is very resilient. We know that from COVID. When they set them humans in the house, trees started blooming, they got stronger, they alarmed the suffering. Animals walking around telling them how you doing. It was a great thing. No, really. So the Earth is going to be resilient. And man is definitely going to destroy himself long before the Earth leaves. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen because that's the power of Mother Nature. Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature. That's why they call her that. Because she's going to be here long after man is gone. So you can do what you want to do, and we'll do it your way right now. That party about ready to be over when she says it's over. And she's getting tired of fighting for her survival. So that party's about ready to come to an end. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts?
That Frenchman.
What?
Every time I look at it, I
King
love
Louis.
No, I love art. You know I do. I'm a more artistic person. Every time I look at a French painting, I see all the many French Renaissance paintings with the tights on and the heels. I'm so glad I was born during this time. I don't care what's going on. I mean, and this is those small things in life is what counts. Small blessings.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I couldn't imagine.
No. I mean, you can look at Barack and have respect for him as the leader of the country. I don't know how you look at Louis XIV and feel that way.
You don't look at him.
I'm have to interject. When you look at videos from the 60s and 70s and see those powder blue leisure suits on politicians, it gives me pause. So it's a fashion thing, right? It's just culture that changes with the time.
Yes, but it depends on who's wearing the powder blue suit.
Okay.
Okay, because you had powder blue suits, but it depends on who had them on.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes, although we may not be attracted to the color powder blue, but some of the powder blue that was masculine had like, wow. But something about, you see what I'm saying? It depends on who's wearing it. But those tights that Louis got on with those here, I like those baby Janes though. I like it. I do. I love baby James. And I probably this opposite. They would catch me in his closet trying on his stuff. Okay. Come on, Michelle. Come on over, Jill. We about ready to try on Louis stuff.
Like, I look better in these pants than he does.
We gonna play dress up.
My God.
They dress up.
Hey, the maids and butlers probably did.
They probably did. They dress up.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know about all that. Okay.
I'm sticking with Barack. Bring Barack back. I want Barack.
Barack is enjoying his life. He ain't trying to do no extras.
No.
He ain't trying to do no kind of extra. Okay. None. No extra. And I would, even if he could, I wouldn't want him to. I want him to just enjoy the rest of his life You did what you could. It's never enough. Although you don't have the power to do for so much, but it's still ain't gonna be enough. You're gonna part the Red Sea, it would have been enough. Go relax, enjoy your riches. You deserve them. 8 years again in your life, which equals to 20 in human time, messing with these people up there. He needs to go relax. Write a couple books, take walks on the beach, do what you do.
Right. Keep making movies.
Keep making movies.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch his series?
Yeah, Rustin. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Excellent.
I
And
haven't
About
seen
Time. Oh, you need to watch it.
Yes.
no.
You need to watch it.
On Bad
And I think
Rest.
but yeah, I think they
Oh,
picked an excellent actor to portray him too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watched that actor on Fear the Walking Dead, which I thought he would just, oh, he just dominated that role. Excellent actors out there. Hmm. But yeah, you gotta
Well,
watch Michelle. Mhm.
you have to.
okay. So we are off for the next 2 weeks. For the holidays, of course. We come back on January 9th, reading chapters 9 and 10. And those are two small little itty bitty chapters. So that's why I combined them. So Merry Christmas.
Have
Happy
happy holidays,
Hanukkah.
Gio and Michelle.
New Year.
We'll talk to you. See you soon. January the
9th.
9th. That's why we got another week off after after New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
Well, am I thinking January the 2nd? You just said the 9th.
Oh no, and I said I was going to see if I could get myself back on track because I've barely been reading. I haven't been reading deeply, and I haven't been doing questions or agendas or anything. But I think I like it, Gio.
Yeah. Well, do what you like.
That's what
Okay, it's all right.
it's
You're
okay.
not being graded on this.
That's right. That's right.
That's
So
true.
we'll see. I may at one point I had said, well, maybe I'll just do like one agenda per revolutionary era, but I didn't get one done related to agriculture. So
Don't make any promises. Enjoy your life. We'll read chapter 9 and 10. Be prepared for January the 9th. I'll talk to you in between.
all right.
You as well, Gio. I'll be talking to you.
All right.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Be well, lady.
Bye.
You as well.
Bye.